activists, leaders, and visionaries whose work today will define the course of history in years to come. The magazine list includes record numbers of 45 women and 45 people under the age of 40. I'm Barbara Cusack.
Juice, Mom. Juice, juice, juice.
Mommy, why are we going to the store?
Mom, I want juice.
Mom.
Juice, juice, juice.
Mom.
Your child will have different needs at different stages of life, and that includes the car seat. See, car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Josh Kaul, the candidate for Wisconsin Attorney General.
Do you think voter ID had a suppressive effect, not on 100 voters, but on thousands of voters and perhaps tipped the election to Donald Trump?
This is an issue that came up at our trial. And first of all, I should thank you guys because we actually introduced into evidence the recording of you interviewing Dale Schultz, who was talking about the passage of the voter ID law. That was one of our pieces of evidence.
I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling devil's advocates.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. A controversial plan to cut some of the services offered at St. Joseph Hospital in Milwaukee has been put on hold. Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett has confirmed that he is considering another run for governor. And less than 2 months after Wisconsin sued the federal government to strike down the Affordable Care Act, the Walker administration has now submitted a proposal that would contribute $34 million to Obamacare and reduce consumer costs by 5% next year. Outside today, sunshine and then mostly clear tonight, lows in the upper 20s. Sunshine again tomorrow, highs tomorrow in the upper 40s. For Saturday, partly sunny with highs in the low 50s. I'm Stu Daniels for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dom, we're sliding into the 5 o'clock happy hour on Brady. It's glorious here. Sun is shining. And we've been joined by a good friend and a fine guest. And she is a new host right here on Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio Network. You know her. You love her. If you don't know her, you will love her. She's Mary Carroll. Mary, welcome aboard.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Mary.
God, I'm super excited. I've been here. Like, come on, let's go. I'm ready.
Jumping jacks, warming up.
2 more days.
Mary, how long has it been, not since you podcasted or, produced media, but since you've been on live radio?
Live radio was right when you guys had started back at the old station in Madison.
So it's been like 5 years, sister.
Yeah, 5 years.
Sort of got an employment gap.
I know. I went south for 5 years.
Well, that was smart.
Yeah, I was in Atlanta. Got involved with politics there and the gay community there, and I did do a podcast there. But I'm back in Wisconsin, back on my home turf, and really excited to be
But
here.
you've been doing radio for a long time. Certainly you may have a few years
For
off
a young
of live
lady, you've been
radio.
doing radio and unbelievable.
hug
What,
me.
since
Let's
you were
hug.
like 7?
I think you have more radio experience than Crudy and I combined.
Since I was 1996 was my first day on radio.
Wow.
I'm 42. I'm a proud 42-year-old.
What day of the year? Do you recall?
January 1st, 1996.
Oh.
At midnight. And it was one of those donut
They gave you an
things.
overnight shift?
Of course. I was 19. I was like a low man on the totem pole. And I'll never forget getting there. And I wanted to be Mary Carroll. I wanted to be my first and middle name. And I look up at the chalkboard, and it says, your name is Mary Austin. And I was like, no, it's not. In my head, I'm like, I'm not that. And the clock, it's winding down. It was one of those top of the hour ideas where you had to fill in the donut. It was like, choo, choo, W, choo, choo, choo. And then you feel like, hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. Here's so-and-so with this song. And it's like winding down. I can feel like sweat. I'm like, oh, man. This was my first resistance. Here's my first resistance story. And so I'm like, oh, my God, what am I going to do? And it hit, and I just said, hey, it's Mary Carroll. It's just after midnight. Here's whatever artist with whatever song. And there was a big, next day I go in, and there's a big cross through the thing. Apparently, it's Mary Carroll.
Don't give me that name.
Yeah, I was like, you can't name somebody.
You can't pick your own nickname.
From now on, you'll be known as T-Bone.
Flounder.
Right.
Why Flounder? Why not?
Yeah.
Mary, I don't know if you're aware of the employment policies around here. You've noted the drug test near the door.
I saw that. I even said, I was like, is that real? Is there really an at-home marijuana drug test?
Yes, if you can't pass it, if you're not positive, you can't work here.
Mary, what is your position on the legalization and taxation and regulation of recreational cannabis in the state of Wisconsin?
I'm absolutely for it. Yeah. I've been an advocate for as long as I can remember, medically, and I mean, are you kidding me?
Right.
Get me started. It is ridiculous. And the amount of people I know who just medically need it and use it and help with epilepsy, and it helps with anxiety, and it helps when you're on your period. Yes, I said period. And on my show, we might even talk about periods.
I didn't realize that was going to be part of the show.
Menopause. Oh, we're talking about everything. It's for women, by women, and it turns out women know a lot about a lot of things. So we're going to talk about that. And
Can
I found out when I was in it.
Mansplain to you about women?
Oh, please. Hold on. Let me get a chair. Tell me everything.
Mansplaining menopause.
I swear, y'all go through something. Can you tell I've been in the South? It's fading.
Y'all,
I feel like you do. I feel like men go through things you just don't talk about.
Psychologically, there's rhythms to the month.
It's when you just like don't talk. It's like, oh, your man's shutting down. He's on his man period.
That'll happen.
They're prolonged. It's like 3 weeks a month.
I when it comes, it hits hard. I have one of those. I mean, if I were flowing, it'd be a heavy flow day. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, there you go.
He needs
That's why I believe in marijuana, because it's way better than taking a pill. You're happy. You don't want to hurt anybody else around you when you're going through
nausea and all sorts of
things. I mean, when my aunt was dying of cancer,
right?
It was like ridiculous that she couldn't get it. And we're all like, I'm like, I'll drive to Colorado. I don't care. What do you need? Like, this is so ridiculous that you can't have this.
Well, Mary, we've talked about a topic near and dear. It's 420 Eve around here, but let's talk about what's near and dear to you. Other than women's stuff,
right?
What do you think's most important? What do you think your show will platform?
Women, all kinds of women, big, small, gay, lesbian, trans, women's issues, sex, drugs, rock and roll, raising children, being single, divorced, the Me Too movement, having a voice. I'm made it my mission. It's funny because I just sat down with a woman we're going to have on the show. Jasper Dayton is her name, and she runs Brandworks Productions. And it was so interesting. We had this great talk, and she's like, she works with all these clients and helps build their companies and branding and media kits and all these things. And she was like, I'm really into what you're talking about with this show. I really want to be a part of it. It's amazing because now is such a great time for this. And she said, what's your mission? Like, what's your goal? And I said, I want to give back the rest of my life. I've been in this business for 20 years, and there's been a lot of people around you who sway you to be, well, it's about this, and it's about that, and it's about, just this one thing. And with everything that's been going on and everything that I've learned throughout my career, I just want to give back to women and give women and people who feel like they don't have a voice. And if you haven't recognized it in the past year, it turns out women might be one of those voices with the Me Too movement and the LGBTQ community, which I'm a proud member of. I am a very proud lesbian, a single mom with 2 kids, beautiful kids. So all about that. I just got word Kelda Helen Royce is going to be one of our very first guests. And I think what's great about it, and I think what you're really going to enjoy is, and of course we're going to talk about politics because hello. But you're going to hear things from a woman's perspective and maybe get questions, no offense, but that you might not get anywhere else but on this show, and answers and an understanding of what we go through. And it was interesting. I was talking to Kelda about it. earlier is on her page, and we'll get in depth to it on Saturday, but somebody had posted, when she posted the video about her breastfeeding in that commercial, and this woman posted, but don't you feel guilty you have these kids at home? You should be home focused on raising your children. And I immediately, like seconds later, was so offended because
I must have irked some people the day that video released. She came on our show right as the video released, and I did ask her, and I'm not trying to cast upon her, but some will.
Right.
Some will look and say a breastfeeding mom's got lots going on, and how can she possibly govern at the very same time? Now, this was a strategic choice, obviously.
Well, and that's what we...
to place her campaign.
Right.
And no one else in the race, as far as I know, has run a breastfeeding video. It's a launch video, anyways.
Absolutely. But
I was thinking
being a
maybe
mom who
video
breastfed,
number 2.
And the amount of things, here's what you're going to learn on my show, is it turns out we can juggle some stuff, raise kids, run a state, run a country, breastfeed whenever we need to, because it turns out your kids get hungry, and when they're hungry, you feed them, and it's the most natural form you could ever do, and the fact that anybody gets offended by it blows my mind, first of all. And second of all, my response to this woman immediately was like, this is the most ridiculous response post I've ever read in my life. It turns out not only can women raise well-grounded, hardworking, loving, kind humans, we can also run some states and stuff like this. You would never read that. And I'm not some yes, I'm a lesbian, I'm a feminist. I'm not this crazy, I'm going to set myself on fire feminist. But I got to tell you, it is so clear when you see things and read things like that. No one would ever post under a man's video and say, don't you think you have 5 kids at home? You should be at home being a father raising those kids.
Well,
that would never happen.
That's why Trump has Melania, so he can go out and chase porn stars.
Oh my God, don't even get me started. I feel like she's I feel bad for her.
I don't feel bad for her. She
but
knew
no,
what she was getting
also
into.
a birther.
Well, right. She's in a contract. I mean, she signed let's face it, this is not a marriage.
Another
this
NDA.
Is a fixed marriage, and there's a contract involved, and she
a
has to just be
contracted submissive, if you will.
Right. And I feel bad for her just as a human being, who got herself in this position. And you can tell the unloved she feels. It's hard to feel unloved.
She doesn't have much of a poker face,
There's
does she?
Not
Mary?
a lot of... Yeah, I mean, you can tell by her body language, and I've spent 42 years knowing women, and just by her body language, that's what makes me feel sorry for her.
Well,
we're going to have a good time. We're going to talk about all kinds of great stuff. And
we're not done yet, Mary. Don't feel like you got to wrap things up.
Oh, I heard the song. He's like, what song do you want?
Well, just for a
It's
commercial
like,
break.
Song. All right, great.
And what song
I get to stay.
What song are we listening to?
Brandi Carlile, Hold Out Your Hand. There's some great rise up music coming out now. I'm really proud of a lot of artists, women artists in particular, who are like, enough is enough.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know what, Mary?
Enough is enough.
Mary Carroll, I don't know if I'll have time to finish this thought. Our new host of the Mary Carroll Show. She's Mary Carroll. If you don't love her yet, you will soon. But I got to tell you, Mary, I don't have any insight into what it's like to be a lesbian or an African-American man. The only insight I have is through hires like you, because I'm looking to you to educate me, make me a little broader.
You got it.
Get
deal.
tired of
It's
all
a
the
deal.
mansplaining I got to do up in here. You know, he is my trophy wife.
A beautiful one at that.
Why, thank you, Mary.
Come back with us. Dom, Crute, Mary Carroll, Fancy Brian, the gang's all here. You are as well. Stick around.
American women deserve better, and American women are here to fight back.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Hello, I'm Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters Local 200. In 1903, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters was founded, and our local union was founded in 1935 here in Milwaukee. During the last 115 years, the principles and values for the Teamsters Union have made many improvements for working families, creating a pathway to the American middle class. Teamsters have assisted families and communities in times of need. Currently, our active and retired membership are collectively working to benefit working families across this nation for retirement security and addressing long-term social needs here in Madison, Wisconsin, and in Washington, D.C. American workers do have a voice in the workplace. Let Teamsters Local 200 be part of that action plan for you. For more information, please visit us on Facebook at Teamsters Local 200 or visit our website at www.teamsterslocal200.com or give us a call at 414-771-6363. Teamsterslocal200.com or 414-771-6363.
The only election I've ever won was Milwaukee's Best Local Entrepreneur 2017. I'm not your typical politician, but I'd like to be the next governor of the state of Wisconsin. I've acted as a fiduciary for my clients for the last decade, putting their needs before my own. I will do the same for you. Red and blue, R's and D's, we all do business with each other on Main Street. We're all Badgers. It's time we started acting like it. This message paid for by Crute for Wisconsin. Find us at cruteforwisconsin.com.
Hey, Batman here. Matt Rothschild from the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. Hoping you'll support us as we track all that dark money that's splattering your screens with mud. You can count on us to tell you who really runs Wisconsin, and it's not Walker, Fitzgerald, and Voss. They're just the water boys for the Koch brothers, WMC, the NRA, and Diane Hendricks. You can find all this out at our website at wisdc.org, and while you're there, please send us a donation so we can keep after these bad guys.
Hi, I'm Becky with Bounce Milwaukee, a progressive, local, family-owned entertainment center. We just want to remind you what it's like to be a kid again. Come on in for all ages fun. Bounce in our giant inflatables, race up the rock wall, dominate your friends in laser tag, or just relax in our bar or our massage chairs. Open 6 days a week with extended adult-only weekend hours. Find us at bouncemilwaukee.com.
Join us during Milwaukee's YP Week Milwaukee, presented by Northwestern Mutual. On Wednesday, April 25th from 11:30 to 1, Dem and Crute from the Devil's Advocates will host a new program called Political Open Mic, where we'll dive deep into different aspects of Milwaukee's education system. Justin Morales and Mandela Barnes will share their thoughts and ideas on the future of our education system and what it will take to get there. Do you have ideas? Make your voice heard at Good City Brewing Company on Wednesday, April 25th at 11:30. For more information, visit Milwaukee.com.
The Devil's Advocates, radio for nasty women everywhere.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, also streaming on YouTube and Facebook. We're on Twitter at Devil Radio. Phone lines, you can call us on the party line, 844-967-2789.
Mary Carroll, you better save some of those stories for your fine
I know.
show.
I was just telling him some stories.
If the audience only knew the conversations that happen during the commercial breaks in radio, sometimes they're much better than the actual on-air conversations.
I know. When I used to have guests in, or they like, well, what... You know, Kathy Woolard was running for mayor in Atlanta, and I had her on, and it was this whole long, drawn-out thing about her coming on and the questions, and I said, look, I've been doing this 20 years. A, I just need you to trust me, but B, if we work everything out right now, it won't be as authentic.
Right.
And then, like, the gang would get there, and my regular guests, and we'd all be outside having coffee before the show, and they'd all start talking. I'm like, just stop.
Yep. Save it.
Don't say anything. Save it for the show.
Leave a little meat on the bones.
Yeah. Save it.
I agree. I think, too much preparation is a bad thing for radio.
Well, that never happens here. I hate that, though. Interview guests all the time. Oh, what do you guys want to talk about? Well, first of all, if you booked your candidate on our show, you don't get to ask that question.
Right.
And second of all, that assumes that we've prepared to the point where we know what we might ask. I just say, look at the headlines.
Right.
If it's in the paper, it might be a subject for conversation. But that's the way it works in radio, right? If you have the conversation off there, it's always flat by the time you're on air.
Well, it becomes that like typical, I don't know if you listen to a lot of music radio now, no offense. But
Is
when
there
they have
music
guests
on the
on,
radio?
right? When they have guests on, pew, pew, it's like, well, you have a new album coming out. How's the tour going? And I'm like, can you not? That's all you can think of to ask this person?
Did you give 110%?
Yeah,
That's
like,
why I
dig
got
a
out of
little deeper.
sports. How's
Yeah.
it feel to win? How's it feel to lose?
Right.
So much
Try your
winning.
hardest. Does your wife still love you? I mean,
Right.
you got like 5-6 viable questions, and then it's just, you want to go get a beer after this. I mean, you run out of questions.
Right. You're going to find, and I like with you guys too, which is why I wanted to be a part of this, because you have that edge where you don't know what you're going to ask, and you're not afraid to ask it. And my guests will, I hope, understand that I'm just there to dig a little deeper, and I want the audience to feel like this is your show. Like women not to be over men. Yes, listen. You want to learn more about women and have a better life?
Yes.
Listen to the show. Listen to the show. But I want you to feel like it's your voice and I'm asking the questions on your behalf, kind of a thing. You know, so you won't be bored, I can tell you that.
So, Mary Carroll, the show launches Saturday,
Yep.
the 21st, 9 a.m. right here on Resistance Radio Network, 1510 a.m. Waukesha, Milwaukee, 1580 WTTN, Columbus, Madison. All these words.
I was like, wow, you're good. I'm going to have to remember all that, aren't I?
Damn it, man. I already lost my train of thought. But Mary Carroll, you start on Saturday. Let's talk about the first show. And I'm asking, pretend like I'm asking this for the first time.
Yes.
What's the first show going to be about?
Well, it's going to be an introduction. You know, I'm back after all this time I spent, you know, the greater part of my career on Madison radio. So I know I have a lot of people in Madison. I hosted the 200th anniversary of the Milwaukee County Parks. I do have a lot of relationships here in Milwaukee. So I'm excited to get to know women in Milwaukee. Call in, ask anything you want to know about the show. If there's women you know or you want to be on the show or be a guest, just reach out and contact me, the Mary Carroll Show @gmail.com. The first show, we're going to have comedian Andy Smith, who's one of my great, great friends. She's hysterical, but on Last Comic Standing. Works with Wanda Sykes on a couple of projects, and just really funny girl from Wisconsin, good old Janesville. Kelda Helen Royce, Jasper Dayton. We're going to have women musicians on. Aaron Forrest from Emerge is going to be a regular guest on the show. You know, politics, religion, and her. Nothing's really off the table. It's just going to be about sharing our stories, we want it to be, can I say the B word?
Which one?
All right. Well, we don't want it to be a gripe session. How about that?
A bitch session.
Right. I don't,
Yeah, you can say
I've learned through the
I
years,
say it
especially with
frequently.
politics in women, no offense, but we can tend to get like, well, and this I want it to be more like women uplifting other women, sharing stories. And yes, we're going to have to complain about some things because unfortunately we live in a world where there is a significant amount of news that we can complain about, but then I want it to be, what are we going to do about it?
Yes.
And who are those women we need to reach out to make sure this happens? And who you can call if you need help. If you need help, call the show. And you don't know what to do and you don't know who to talk to about domestic violence or abuse or anything like that, I want to make sure you're contacted to who you need. It's going to be an everything show. Fun, uplifting, funny, everything. It's going to be a mix of everything that makes up a woman. So you never know what you're going to get.
I don't know if I'm reassured or not.
So my boss looks at me, oh.
Come on. Boss implies I'm paying you. You'll get
But
paid
we're gonna-
eventually.
Yeah, I mean, Planned Parenthood, abortion, divorce, falling in love, sex. We are actually going to talk about sex. Oh my God. It turns out people have it.
Really?
And some people have really good sex. So, and those who don't, I'm going to have sex experts on so you can.
When do you need us on?
Yeah, just let me know. I'll make sure my schedule's clear.
You got it.
I'll come in and speak for 3 solid minutes, whenever you need me.
It just blows my mind how it's like this thing. You know, I'd love to have good old Glenn on. I'm thinking about having a segment called just after him about like, you know, we have sex, right? Like your laws are ridiculous.
You're talking about Glenn Grothman,
Oh,
I suspect.
of
That's
course
Mary
I am.
Carroll She will launch Saturday morning, 9 to 11, right here on the Wisconsin Resistance Radio Network. We'll be right back with your phone calls, 844-967-2789.
Democracy matters, especially when it is inconvenient.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
Ignacio, what do you got for us today?
Hey, I quit paying attention for like maybe one day, and all hell breaks loose. That goes to show me I got to pay attention every single day to your radio program, or else who knows what'll happen.
If you don't listen to the Devil's Advocates 3 hours every day, Nacho, you're missing a lot.
You got that right. I just learned that today. I turned it on and I'm listening, and you really just rocked my world today. I was just totally blown away.
Save the $2 on tomorrow's paper. Listen to the Devil's Advocates today.
Totally blown away.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
If you're like a lot of companies, you know you need IT, but you aren't sure where to start. That's where Five Nines comes in. Hi, I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO. For almost 15 years, Five Nines has been providing IT solutions to companies just like yours. We'll show you the solutions that are right for your business and give you the roadmap to success in the future. Find us at 5nines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Excuse me, I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada, nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me, and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So, I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume, and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Beginning May 15th, Wisconsin parents will be able to apply for a $100 per child tax credit. Governor Walker signed the law on Tuesday in an effort to boost his chances of re-election. The measure is expected to cost taxpayers about $122 million. And this Saturday is the 23rd annual Milwaukee Riverkeeper Cleanup to celebrate Earth Day. Volunteers are needed for over 60 locations along the Milwaukee River. Participants will receive gloves and a trash bag, also a free t-shirt. And after the cleanup, there will be a free party in Estabrook Park from noon until 2 o'clock. To register to volunteer, go to MilwaukeeRiverkeeper.org. Outside today, sunshine and then mostly clear tonight, lows in the upper 20s. Sunshine again tomorrow, highs tomorrow in the upper 40s. I'm Stu Daniels for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
His friends would say, stop whining, they've had enough of that. His friends would say, stop pining, there's other girls to look at. They've tried to set him up with Tiffany and Indigo, but there's something about Mary that they don't know. Mary, just something about Mary.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Want to thank our most recent guest, Mary Carroll.
Yeah.
The sausage party's over around here, dude.
Thank goodness.
You know, I have been trying to bring all matters of diversity to this radio station every way I possibly can. And I hate to say we're checking boxes, but I got me a Republican product. I mean, that's Joel Clayfish. He and Joe Costa on Saturdays. Let's not forget, they do their show 3 to 4 p.m. And Dr. Tim Slecker, we do educational stuff. Really smart PhD guy. He does Busted Pencils on Saturdays. We got Mary. I mean, she checks a couple boxes. Super cool, check. Woman, check. Lesbian, well, check. Have to ask her if we have the same taste in women, Dom.
And great radio presence. You know,
I
when
like
we
her.
were in Madison, you know,
spunky. I like her.
We crossed paths, and you know, it was unfortunate because I just barely started to get to know her when we started working more, and she decided to move down south. So I'm so excited to have her in studio with us and to join the team here and to give her perspective. She's funny, she's sassy, she's awesome. So that's gonna be a great show. I can't wait to listen on Saturday.
Be like Crudy and Dom. Give her a listen Saturday morning right here on the Wisconsin Resistance Radio Network. Then Busted Pencils. Then Earl at Coffee Makes You Black this Saturday at least. A special community listening session. Then the Joel and Joe Costa show. And then, Dom, I don't know if I've mentioned this to you. We've got another fine show that's going to start on the airwaves on Cinco de Mayo. Another very intelligent woman to be heard from right here on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. That'll make 3.
Is it official?
We're nearly getting
Are you announcing
balance.
that now, or are you,
We'll
just teasing it?
We'll roll out that show in another week or so.
All right, I look forward to it. I know the woman of whom you speak, and I look forward to talking with her as well.
She is sharp as a
yeah,
tack.
absolutely.
Way smarter than anybody in this room. So anyways, you're going to love what we're going to do on the weekends. That show will air 4 to 6 p.m., but can't tell you about it yet.
Not yet.
Got to save that for next week or perhaps the week thereafter.
844-967-2789. You can call and join us if you choose.
It would be outstanding if a guy like, let's say, Wisco Paul would give us a call.
Hey!
He's out there dodging the Scott holes, I bet. Hey, Wisco Paul, how you doing, man?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, and I dodge them every day, and I can't believe more people don't call in complaining about the roads. But, hey, I think Walker's going to lose. No roads, no Scott hole, and he absolutely sucks as governor. If you can't fix the roads, you can't govern. And actually, now it's more than that. I'm hearing more and more people talk about health insurance, and he absolutely failed Wisconsin on that also. Hey, I got a quick question for you guys.
Yes, sir.
I think the Democratic primary, I should say, for governor will be won by a few votes. And I'm thinking Milwaukee and Madison will decide it. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I'm doing some political calculation. You can bet Wisco Paul. When you look at the state of Wisconsin, about 2/3 of the Democratic voters reside in metros that are covered by the signal of the Wisconsin Resistance Radio Network, meaning Milwaukee and Madison. Now, does that mean someone from Milwaukee or Madison is going to win this election? There are a lot of schools of thought. Some think it's got to be an out-of-state candidate. I don't necessarily share that opinion. I look at the track record of prior Dems that have won in the state of Wisconsin, and I don't know if you know this, Paul, but they all came from Madison or Milwaukee.
I did not know that. I was kind of hoping Dana, I think I say it, I never get his name
Dana
right.
Walks.
Dana Walks. Yeah,
Steely
I
blue
was
eyes that
hoping
man
for him.
has.
Okay. Well, it's because he's from up north and he's already working in government, and that's just my line of thought. Although, Crudy, you're going to be a formidable opponent, I think. So, at least ways I hope so. The only thing that would be bad about that is I would lose the Devils on the radio. And
I'm not so sure you would, Paul. I think I would, much like Scott Walker would do, I think I would have to go and change laws or do what was necessary for my own self-gratification, Paul. You know, I'm just the sort of guy to do that for the sake of listeners like you.
Well, as long as you fix the roads, Crudy, I would let you do both, governor and working on the radio. That'd be the best of both worlds for me. Hey, anyway, you guys have a great day, and thanks.
All right, thanks, Paul.
Wisco Paul, always love when you call us. 844-967-2789. You know, I actually did an interview a little bit earlier today, a pre-record. It will air on WART for our friends in Madison, WART Community Radio. I believe it's 89.9. I hope I'm not wrong. But my interview is going to air in the 6 o'clock hour. So after we're done here, you can hear my interview at like 6 in the news portion at WART. And I can tell you, Paul, I led with the Scott holes. You bet I called them Scott holes.
Yeah.
And reminded all the fine liberals that might hear me in Madison, you know, perhaps there would be an alternative like fixing the roads.
WART 89.9.
Woo, got it right.
Well done, sir.
It's been a while. I got it. I used to have it on the presets. Now I got all my competition plugged in. I just go through the dial like good side, lefties, 1510, bad side, righties. I won't name the numbers, but you know they're out there. Heartless Radio, for sale radio. Well, at least we're not for sale, Dom.
844-967-2789.
But if someone's got a big bag of cash, isn't everything for sale?
Really, it's just about the amount. Let's get to it, Curdy. A couple of different directions we can go. We got the attorney, Michael Cohen. He's withdrawing his lawsuit, but I think maybe we go to this piece.
This one's intriguing because it's entitled, "There are 4 very clear paths to the end of the Trump presidency." Lucian Truscott. Originally, this published at the salon.com, Dom. I found it at the Raw Story. There are 4 intriguing options to end the Trump presidency. Should we jump into it?
You know, I was thinking we just go right to the 4, but there's some introduction here, some background I think maybe we should get to a little bit. We got some time, so let's do that.
If you say so.
All right, the next time...
You are the pretty one.
The next time you walk out to your car or head down the street to the subway or cross the parking lot on your way to the grocery store, look up and squint your eyes. You'll be able to see the end of the Trump presidency. It's still a moving target, kept out of reach and out of focus by Trump's chaotic daily delivery of distractions and dissembling, but it's out there. And at this point, it's coming towards us rather than headed in the other direction. The impending doom is all Trump's fault, of course. The first mistake he made was running for office. The second was winning. The third was thinking that being president would be just like running his business in New York. Here's what he said: "I could run my business perfectly and then run the country perfectly. There's never been a case like this," Trump told the New York Times soon after he won the election. The fourth was believing he could protect himself from law because he thought as president he would control the FBI and the Department of Justice. If Trump had not ridden that escalator down to the lobby of Trump Tower and announced that he would seek the highest office in the land, if he stayed up there on the 26th floor and continued to run the Trump organization, none of this would be happening. Trump himself would not be under criminal investigation by special counsel Robert Mueller for obstruction of justice and conspiracy to steal the election of 2016. His campaign would not be under a counterintelligence investigation by the FBI for conspiring with elements of the Russian intelligence to subvert and violate the laws of the United States.
He didn't know you couldn't do that?
His former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, would not be under indictment for money laundering, bank fraud, and other crimes, and be facing a sentence that would send him to federal prison for the rest of his life.
You know, I may disagree with Lucian there. I think Paul Manafort eventually would have come under investigatory scrutiny either way.
Maybe. I continue. His former national security advisor, Michael Flynn, would not have pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI about his conversations with Sergei Kislyak, Russia's then ambassador to the United States. His former aide, George Papadopoulos, would not have pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI about his contacts with Russians in London and be facing jail time. Alex van der Zwaan, the London-based lawyer for the Skadden Arps Meagher and Flom law firm, would not have pleaded guilty to lying to about his meetings with Rick Gates and an email exchange with a Russian national by the name of Konstantin Kalipnik. A citizen of California named Ricardo Pinedo would not have pleaded guilty to identity theft in a scheme to aid Russians under indictment for engaging in a campaign of propaganda designed to influence with and interfere the 2016 election for president. Trump's personal attorney, Michael Cohen, would not be under a months-long investigation by the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, and his hotel and office would not have been broken into, and all the papers and electronic records of Cohen's representation of Donald Trump would not have been seized by the FBI and the U.S. Attorney. None of the people who worked for Donald Trump on his campaign or in the White House, from Jared Kushner to Donald Trump Jr. to Sean Spicer to Reince Priebus to Rob Porter to Steve Bannon to Hope Hicks, would have had to lawyer up and be interrogated by the House and Senate Intelligence Committees and by agents for Special Counsel Robert Mueller. None of that would have happened had not Donald J. Trump descended the escalator and ran for president and won. Now his White House is surrounded by criminal and counterintelligence investigations and prosecutions, and increasingly, those investigations have focused on Trump himself.
I tell you what, Dom, let's take a break right here. We'll come back. This piece, published originally at the Salon, we found it at the Raw Story. There are 4 very clear paths to the end of the Trump presidency. You know, I hope this isn't a cautionary tale, Dom. You know, guy runs for office and businessman, you know, good with media, sort of a flamboyant sort, bad hair. I see some parallels here in some way, shape, or form.
Well, you know, Crudy, that's the beautiful thing about life. You can learn from everybody and everything, what to do and what not to do.
Well, perhaps I will avoid the money laundering, the treasonous activities, firing the FBI director, and I'll come out okay.
Minor details.
Minor details. Come back with us. Nothing but important facts, stories, takes, and snarkasms right here on the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. 844-967-2789. Your last opportunity to have your voice heard here today.
I don't know if this sends a message. It doesn't make any difference if it does or not.
I got a message for all of them. Ready? Shake and bake.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind? That just happened.
Very powerful.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Scott Walker thinks Wisconsin should once again hire him as governor.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon.
This is a person who has not worked in the private sector since 1993.
You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't hire me to run HP.
And has made his political career.
You probably wouldn't hire me to run the United States Senate.
By using divisive tactics to the benefit of his corporate donors.
First step is we're going to deal with collective bargaining for all public employee unions. Because you divide and conquer.
Now he supports the largest publicly funded government subsidy of a foreign corporation in American history.
You know, they can go suck lemons.
And Scott Walker has yet to live up to his first campaign promise to create 250,000 jobs.
Is this a campaign promise, something you want to be held to?
Absolutely. Scott Walker, we the people are done sucking your lemons. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
The Devil's Advocates, rock and roll political commentary in a top 40 world.
Do, re, mi, the first three notes just happen to
Terrible.
So when need to pulling down.
I can see listeners dropping off. Let's get some callers before we lose everybody. Betsy from Madison, you're up. Thanks for calling.
That will bring us back to do.
Terrible.
Hey, at least we didn't do Edelweiss.
I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but they are kind of a big deal.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. If you have something to say, it's the last segment. You better call us at 844-967-2789.
You know, I was going to go similarly, like, do you love the Devil's Advocates radio show? You bet.
All right.
But you stole my thunder, man.
See?
Rare do you beat me to the clever. Let's get back to the piece. Before we run out of time on this big show, if you'd like to throw your voice in here at the end, 844-967-2789. There are 4 very clear paths to the end of the Trump presidency. Dom's going to let me go first. The first scenario is that Mueller will come up with enough evidence that Trump has committed crimes, whether obstruction of justice or conspiracy with Russians to steal the election, and will indict the president in office. This would lead to a constitutional showdown at the Supreme Court between Mueller and Trump, while a previous Supreme Court decision, Clinton v. Jones, found unanimously that a president does not have immunity from a civil lawsuit. The court has not faced a decision as to whether a sitting president can be criminally indicted yet. If the court took up the case and found against Trump, Mueller's charges against him would be enforced, and Trump would face arrest and prosecution. That's my favorite scenario, Dom.
Yeah?
It's possible the court would find that Trump can be indicted, but not face trial until after he leaves office. In that case, Trump would be facing charges that could put him in prison sometime after he left office. Talk about running for re-election, right?
Right.
Incumbency. The only way he could leave office and not face such criminal charges would be if he resigned and made a deal with the man who succeeds him for a pardon, similar to the way that Nixon resigned in 1974 and was pardoned by Gerald Ford for any and all crimes he committed against the United States while president.
We are reading from, this is a piece published in Salon, also on Raw Story. These are the 4 very clear paths to the end of the Trump presidency. The second scenario, Crudy, is that Mueller could issue a finding that Trump had committed crimes while in office without indicting him. In this case, Mueller's report would be forwarded to the United States Congress, and the House of Representatives would be faced with the decision whether or not to impeach him. In this scenario, much would depend on the 2018 elections. Democrats may retake the House, and many are predicting they will. In that case, a vote to impeach Trump would seem assured, although conviction in the Senate would be less than a sure thing. Trump could tough it out and win his trial in the Senate like Clinton did in 1998 and 99. He would then be able to run for re-election in 2020. A win by Trump would seem to be improbable, but then strange things have happened before.
Like Trump getting elected the first time. The third scenario is that Mueller's investigation would lead to indictments of people close to Trump. Think Michael Cohen or even Jared Kushner and or Fredo Jr. Trump could preemptively pardon these individuals or anyone else charged for that matter, similar to the way George H.W. Bush pardoned former Secretary of Defense Caspar Weinberger days before he was to stand trial for charges brought against him by the independent prosecutor Larry Walsh. in connection with the Iran-Contra scandal. The president's pardon power is broad. The Constitution grants to the president, in Article 2, Section 2, power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. A pardon of a man like Michael Cohen might save Trump from the possibility that Cohen would flip and testify against him rather than face trial. But an argument could be made that having been granted a pardon would relieve Cohen of his Fifth Amendment protection. Fine, former U.S. Attorney Jim Santel brought that to our attention the other day, Dom. Would relieve Cohen of his Fifth Amendment protection against self-incrimination, and he could still be compelled to testify against Trump.
Yeah.
So Trump may not be able to pardon his way out of trouble in a showdown with Mueller. After all, the president's pardon power is for offenses against the United States, which is to say the case of federal crimes. If charges were brought by, let's say, the state of New York against Trump's lawyer or his son-in-law, for example, Trump would not have the power to grant them pardons. The only way he could possibly save them would be to make a deal with the state of New York, which is unlikely, especially if he had already pardoned them on the federal charges.
Which brings us to scenario number 4. This one is based on the belief among many longtime Trump watchers that the only thing that really matters to Trump is his personal fortune. In this scenario, Trump will do anything to protect his business and his lifestyle once he leaves office. He may yet face charges that would follow him after he leaves the presidency. Federal and state charges could threaten not only to send him to prison, but lay siege to his empire. His son and close associates may face state charges he can't protect them from. If this were to come to pass, the only way out for Trump would be the Nixon way. Make a deal to resign and be pardoned on the federal charges, and have a deal be contingent on the state charges being dropped against himself or those close to him as well. Nixon resigned from office with his fortune intact, including his homes in Key Biscayne and San Clemente. Trump may have to do the same thing if he wants to keep living at Trump Tower and visiting Mar-a-Lago. This is what Trump faces every single day he remains in office. The Mueller investigation isn't going away. Even if he fires Mueller, the convictions and indictments handed down already will stand, and Trump will be unable to end FBI investigations and pending prosecutions by U.S. attorneys by executive fiat. The control over the FBI and Justice Department he lusts for just isn't there, nor does he have control over courts and judges for whom he has often expressed contempt. History books have always talked about men being elevated to the presidency, but when descended that escalator in Trump Tower in 2015, he dragged us into his pit of scandal, disgrace, and criminality when he assumed office. But the end game is coming. Squint your eyes and tell me if you don't see an escalator out there ahead of us, it's going up.
Dominic, I love a story with a happy ending. Hell, I love any sort of happy ending. Want to thank all our fine guests. Let's put a happy ending on this show. Ellen B. Meacham, author of Delta, Epiphany-Robert F. Kennedy in Mississippi. Want to thank Bob Look. He's a candidate in Wisconsin's 7th Congressional District. That's where the Duffmeister resides. And Mary Carroll, the newest host right here on Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio Network, The Mary Carroll Show. It launches. It premieres Saturday, noon to 11. You better tune in. There's just something about that Mary.
Noon to 11?
9 to 11. God bless it, man.
That's all right. 9 to 11.
It has
Mary
been
Carroll
a
Show.
long couple of days. Tomorrow on the big show, Kelda Royce coming in studio with Dom. We got Eric March from Normal, Milwaukee. It's 420. And I got to tell you, it could be the biggest Devil's Advocates radio show ever. You better tune in, especially around 420. It's going to be exciting. Great radio. You'll want to be a part. Have a great night.
If it's possible, would you let me know?
Herpes, trust me.
If I were to guess, I have one name in mind.
Wasn't true. It was a Scott Walker, a Scott P. Walker. I'm Scott Kevin Walker.
Wanker.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I'm not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology